Again, this is some of the aerial views of Mystic after the flooding. And so this area right here was more of kind of the golf course area. I don't know if we can take it full so I can just get a little bit closer to the screen to see exactly what we have. But some of the cabins right there, each cabin has a name. I believe that was Bug House and Look-In, which had a pretty great, the girls had quite the walk to get to where they were able to reach higher ground. But those are just some of the first images that we've seen from the camp right there. But also, I think even more importantly, to see what Mystic has always been before the flooding. So some photos right now of Camp Mystic as the place that I've always known. Chapel Hill right there. The view on the Guadalupe River, you can see the diving boards where you would swim every day. The entrance of Camp Mystic, just a simple sign, but beautiful nonetheless. This is the view from Sky High where the camp is way down below. Have the canoes ready to go because it's a traditional summer camp. That's the type of stuff that you do. Kind of maybe think of the first Parent Trap almost. I don't really, and that is probably something to address also, like what is this camp? And it's an all-girls Christian-based summer camp where you know, hang out with everyone your own age within your cabin, but then when it's mealtime, you have assigned seating and you're, you know, you're with girls of all ages just to make sure that everyone, you know, doesn't get cliquey or anything like that. But it is a place full of love and devotion to each other, and I think that is how, I think that is what made a lot of this a miracle, because when I'm hearing about what these girls went through to make it out, because again, flash flooding, it happens in an instant, but the counselors, the camp directors, they could sense something was up and they started to evacuate these girls to higher ground. And unfortunately, longtime camp director and owner Dick Eastland did die in the midst of trying to save as many girls as possible. And, you know, I keep getting more information on just the harrowing stories of the counselors gathering the girls in time to get them to higher ground. When I say higher ground, a couple of pictures that I want to go to right now. So I believe the first one is going to be, if we can get to the one for Rec Hall. This is going to be one of the newer ones that we have. It's going to be a video with just one photo in it, the V-Mystic Rec Hall video, if we can go to that one. But I'll try to explain a little bit more until we get to it. But Rec Hall is just, here it is right here. Yeah, so this is a building that is in the center of a camp. And again, this camp has been around for nearly 100 years. And I believe this is one of the structures that was there when it first opened back in 1926. So this is a little bit up elevated, but the Guadalupe River along with Cypress Creek are behind it. A fair distance when you think of it on an average day, but obviously with flooding, maybe not. But nonetheless, there's a whole line of cabins beyond this where the youngest campers are going to be. By youngest, I mean elementary school age. And their counselors were able to get them to this building, and you can see it's already up on a higher foundation, and they got them to the top floor. And when you think of a top floor and you see the windows there, you might think of a traditional building, you know, going up the stairs and there's a second story. It's a little bit different. It's almost, the inside is kind of more like a gymnasium maybe. It's all wide open. And so the second floor is actually just a narrow kind of catwalk, if you will. So they're up, but the whole center part of the quote unquote second floor is open. And so they were able to get all the girls. The estimates that I'm seeing is at least 70 children up top there. And you know, there's banisters, and if you see the second story window, the water was splashing to where it was hitting their feet from right there. And another amazing testament to the counselors is they kept these girls so calm. They just had them sing. And they prayed for the rain to stop, and finally it did. And then they had to wait for the water to go down. And you know, they talk about, how quickly it rose, that it just seemed like the whole camp became a river all of a sudden. And just as quickly as it rose, finally, when the water did go down, it rushed out. It wasn't a slow down. It's like everything was just sucked out all of a sudden. And then this view right here, this is the other view of higher ground. So this is atop a hill that's also part of the camp, and then it's the camp below, the river. Then on the left-hand side are some of the buildings that we've seen of the damage. The one building that a wall is missing, you can see inside of it, Harrison Hall, where you would eat. So this is quite a hike to get to the top of this. This is where the Mystic sign is that lights up at night, and it's beautiful, and it's called Sky High. I mean, try to get up that without getting winded is absolutely impossible. It's going to take time. It is very steep. Only do it in the daylight. I mean, because this is the hill country. There aren't lights out there, you know. But there were, you know, let's say roughly 24 little girls who climbed to the top of this hill. And there's a pavilion also at the top where they were, you know, able to seek shelter. But I just have to applaud all the counselors who were staying on top of it, because this is in the middle of the night. And another fortunate thing, though, is that while you would think most people would be asleep, counselors are allowed to have a night off, and they have to come back by 1:30 in the morning, which is pretty late, you know? And so there were more people awake than what maybe you might imagine. And you know, counselors, I'm talking about people who just graduated high school, who maybe have completed their freshman year in college, so they are very young themselves, but they are devoted to those little girls, and they kept them together, and they kept them calm, and they got to higher ground, and they did such an amazing job. I was a counselor, and I know how important those little girls are to you, and I just wanted to be able to take a moment to tell the counselors that y'all did an amazing job, and thank you. And of course, we all hope that things could have been a little bit better, but it also could have been so much worse seeing the damage that has happened. Sorry.
It's really personal for a lot of us. You know, I didn't go to Camp Mystic, but I was actually volunteering at a camp a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, you were.
It's a different area. That camp is okay, but I know what you're talking about. You know, those girls, how much they mean to you. It's really personal for all of us. I have family in Kerrville. My family is okay. I was able to talk to them on the phone the morning of, but it affects all of us. You know what I mean?
And you know, I'm wearing white today for a reason, because every Sunday, as we look at this beautiful picture of Chapel Hill, of camp before the flooding, every Sunday you go down to the riverbank, and that's where your kind of first service is, and everyone is down there wearing white and songs together. Then another thing that's a big part of Kerrville is James Avery. That's where it's all, that's the home base. And so
I didn't know that.
There are charms that are made just for these camps. And so you can hear the jingling of my bracelet of all my different Camp Mystic stuff, but you wear white. And then I'm going to put this on, but anyone who knows Camp Mystic is well aware. Let's see, let's close my thing right here. My M. Yep, my Camp Mystic M, but I'm going to put it on, and I'll just wear it for the rest of the time that we're on air, because I am a Mystic girl through and through, and we love the Eastlands. Tweety, thinking of you. Brad, you want to come in and help us out here?
No, I was looking at your picture here. This is all of the girls. Were you in this one?
Mm-hmm. So that was the M is one of the awards that's available.
I was going to ask, how do you get one?
Or not available, but
M's?
So it's when you're an older camper, and it's actually something that the counselors, they're the ones that choose it, but there are different, you know, ideals that everyone is always you strive to achieve throughout a term, and that's one of the things about camp is it's a place to conquer your fears. It's just a place to be a better person, and I think anyone who has probably experienced summer camp in general, and you know, especially Camp Mystic, we will all absolutely agree that we're better people, and we are who we are because we went there.
Was this on a Sunday here. Everybody's wearing white in the
Yeah,
picture.
and you know, we do some trickeries on the picture day. They may have asked us to put on white. I'm not really sure. But it's also very likely that it could be a Sunday. And the necklace that I'm wearing right now is from the Ag Awards. So that's another Mystic tradition.
Now
So I'm decked out in my Mystic gear this morning.
You were a counselor there too. Like
I was.
I mean,
I was counselor, and then they call it Big Three. And it's kind of like after you've been a camper, you've been a counselor, all of that, you also can be in charge of kind of the overall organization of a term. It's so much fun, the best job ever. I know when you've been able to take some time off to go help out with camp, I'm like, I want to go to camp, you know? It's amazing.
It's the memories that you make there are some of those core memories that stay with you for your whole life. I mean, like you said, it shapes you as a person. And that's the type of places that we're talking about that hold such a special spot in people's hearts.
Yep.